Once upon a time, in a quiet village tucked between jade-green mountains, lived a little girl named May. She was small, cheerful, and always curious. Her grandmother said her eyes sparkled like morning dew when she learned something new. May lived with her grandmother in a wooden house that smelled of bamboo, tea leaves, and fresh steamed buns. Every morning before the rooster crowed, grandmother would begin cooking baozi, noodles, congee, and most importantly, dumplings. But these were no ordinary dumplings. One morning, as May helped fold the soft dough, she shaped one dumpling a little differently. Instead of a simple pouch, she gave it tiny pinched folds that resembled chubby arms, 2 tiny dimples, and a round, smiling face. "There," she said proudly. "You're special." Grandmother laughed. "Be careful, May. When food is made with love, it sometimes comes alive in ways we cannot predict." May thought she was joking. She was not. That night, under the silver glow of the moon, May awoke to a soft thump, thump, thump. Something was jumping on her blanket. When she sat up, she saw it. A small dumpling round, warm and glowing faintly like a lantern, was dancing on her quilt. "Hello," she whispered. The dumpling squeaked back, wiggling its tiny dough arms. May gasped, half frightened and half delighted. "You're alive!" It puffed proudly, as if saying, "Of course I am." Bennett tapped her wrist and pointed toward the window. "You want to go outside." The dumpling nodded. May wrapped herself in a robe, cradled the little dumpling, and tiptoed out into the cool night air. The stars shimmered so clearly that it felt like stepping into a dream. Suddenly, the dumpling leaped from her hands and rolled across the grass toward the riverbank. May rushed after it, just as she reached the water. Her breath caught. Across the river, floating in the night sky, were hundreds of glowing sky lanterns, drifting like a river of golden fireflies. They weren't drifting upward, they were forming a pathway. And at the end of that pathway, suspended above the mountains, was a magnificent palace shimmering like a cloud made of moonlight. "The Sky Lantern Kingdom?" May whispered. She had heard grandmother's stories, but never believed they were real. The little dumpling turned to her, bobbing urgently. Then the river shimmered, forming a glass-like bridge of floating lanterns. "You want me to follow?" The dumpling nodded and hopped onto the lantern bridge. May stepped forward carefully, and the lantern beneath her feet gently lifted her higher, as though carrying her weight with magic. Together, they crossed the glowing bridge and followed the dumpling toward the palace. Inside the Sky Lantern Palace, walls were woven from starlight threads. The halls glowed with drifting characters, floating calligraphy made of light, each holding a forgotten wish from below. At the heart of the palace sat the Lantern Empress, her robe shimmering like flowing constellations. Her eyes were soft but ancient. "Welcome, May," she said. "And welcome back, little dumpling." "Back?" May asked. The Empress smiled. "This dumpling was formed from your kindness, but its spark came from me. Every year I send one magical dumpling into the human world to find a child with a true heart, one who sees magic where others do not." May looked down at the dumpling, who puffed proudly. But why me?" The Empress waved her hand, and a small lantern floated toward them. Inside the lantern was May, alone in the field behind her house, releasing a small paper lantern covered in hand-painted flowers. May blushed. "That was my wish lantern last year. And do you remember your wish?" I wished to go on an adventure, a real one." The Empress nodded. "That wish brought you here." Before May could respond, a boom of thunder echoed through the palace. Outside, dark clouds twisted across the sky. Lanterns flickered nervously. "The storm of lost wishes has awakened," said the Empress. "It tries to seal the lanterns, feeding on forgotten dreams. If we don't stop it, all wishes will fade." May's heart thumped. "How can we fight it?" "You cannot fight darkness with force," said the Empress. "You defeat it with light. And only someone from the human world can remind the lost wishes of their meaning." The dumpling tugged on May's sleeve as if saying, "Let's do this." May nodded. "We'll help." The Empress handed her a glowing lantern brush. "Draw your courage, your hope, your kindness." Together, They will shine. The storm roared as May and the dumpling stepped onto a balcony overlooking the swirling darkness. Shadowy figures, lost wishes, spiraled within the storm, crying in voices that sounded like forgotten lullabies. May raised the lantern brush. With every stroke, she painted shapes of shimmering light in the air, a phoenix of hope, a dragon of protection, a moonlit bridge of friendship. Each figure burst free and flew into the storm, lighting up lost wishes and guiding them safely back to the Sky Lantern Kingdom. The dumpling bounced bravely, puffing itself up and launching tiny bursts of dough light that sent shadows scattering. Slowly, the storm weakened, then dissolved entirely, leaving the night sky glowing brighter than ever before. Back inside the palace, the Empress bowed to May. "You have restored hope tonight." Few children would face the storm with such heart. May smiled proudly and hugged the dumpling. "Can I take him home?" The dumpling squeaked softly and then shook its head. The Empress touched May's shoulder gently. "He belongs to both worlds. But you will see him again whenever your heart needs light." The dumpling leaped into her hands one last time, pressing its warm doughy cheek against her palm. Then it hopped away, floating upward until it disappeared like a drifting lantern. May felt tears prick her eyes, but also warmth, like holding a small piece of sunrise inside her chest. The Empress lifted her hand. "It is time to go home, brave May." May woke in her bed, the morning sun warming her quilt. For a moment she wondered if the whole night had been a dream. Then she looked at her windowsill. There, sitting perfectly still but unmistakably shaped, was a tiny dumpling. With two little dimples and a soft, happy smile, May grinned. Maybe it was just an ordinary dumpling this time, or maybe not. And if you looked closely, very closely, you could swear it shimmered just a little. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for more magical stories.